Hi.
Hi. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You came from Jersey, right?
From Jersey,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I just got back from Maui.
I heard.
Yeah, it was great. We had a good time.
Good party with Joan Baez
And
Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown. Yeah, that was a great night.
Ram Dass was happy.
He was very happy. He got real tired that night. He stayed out all
bet.
night. It was really late for him. He's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So fun to be with you.
Yeah.
So my question is this: how would you characterize the role of suffering in your spiritual life?
Suffering. Suffering is suffering that it's what wakes us up, you know? It's what makes, it's what prevents us from getting stuck anywhere for too long. You know, the basic dukkha, you know, is actually translated as suffering, but it's actually the quality of dukkha is the unsatisfactory nature of created things. Anything that's created uncreates, dissolves. So nothing anicca, you know, not impermanent. So suffering or the incompleteness, feeling incomplete in life, feeling like this is what forces us to find something deeper. Otherwise we just get lost in pleasure or different forms of pleasure, even subtle meditative pleasures. That's not real love. Those are states of mind that are not permanent either. So if we get immersed in those, it's very hard to get out of those. So luckily, most of us can't even get there, so we don't have to worry about that. But, you know, the worst kind of suffering is not knowing there's anything to find in life. The hopelessness and despair that most people have, that there's no other way to live, what they've been taught and what they've grown up with, and the struggles they've seen around them, that's all there is. And, you know, that's kind of that's the thing that really invokes the most compassion, is that, you know, so many people don't understand this really. There's so much more to find.
You've talked about having that before you met Ram Dass, that despair.
Before, since, and after.
All through.
Just what time is it?
So how do you deal with that?
You just try to reconnect. I try to reconnect deeper, reconnect more deeply, just reconnect again and again and again. Every time you reconnect, you're overcoming the vasanas of your mind, you know, and the channels that your emotions run in all the time, and they run into the same bullshit. So every time you reconnect, you're making new actual neural pathways in the brain. So you're reshaping your brain, you're retraining your whole thing. It's not really about learning, it's about training. So you just keep doing your practice, no matter how you feel, because it's not about how you feel. People think that this Lama, Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, wrote a book, Not About Happiness. He's just plain and simple. He's one of these guys who just lays it out there. He says, not about you. If you think you're a Buddhist and you're trying to be happy, give it up. It has nothing to do with that. So, you know, it's really deep, you know, you just try to keep reconnecting as much as you can, and it's the best you can do, regardless of what's happening in the outside world, which is a lot of stuff.
So for you, what is that besides kirtan?
That's it.
Just kirtan.
And living, you know, just being a good human being. But it's the chanting, that's the practice that helps me connect the most. But the practice is really being with Maharaji, being in that presence. Chanting is one of the ways that gets me into that presence as much as I can. But also meeting other saints and hanging out with lamas and yogis and stuff like that. Anything that brings you there is good. So I'm a junkie for saints.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So The only other question I have is what you would recommend to young people, because it seems there are so many young people who are drawn to the kirtan and to your concerts.
Mhm.
What would you suggest to young people coming up as being the most important aspects of yoga, meditation?
I would just say, don't be afraid to live. You know, go after whatever it is you want. Go after it 100%, and just really do it. That's the way you'll find out what it is. If you don't involve yourself in things, you never experience the end of that thing. So you have to go after stuff, and if there's some way that you can do some practice, that's good. But for young people, you might as well.
More.
There's no sense pretending. You know, you can sit, but basically you're thinking about where you're going to get laid. You know? But you can sit. But on the other hand, there are a lot of young people now who are sitting their asses off. I mean, with such intensity, it's amazing. So it just depends, you know, where a person is in their. You know, I remember what I used to feel about who I thought I was when I was sitting as a 23-year-old in Bodh Gaya. You know, we did 5 meditation courses, 5 10-day meditation courses in a row. And I thought I knew something, you know. You know, as the years have gone by, I only recognize how little I know. And I recognize it's less and less, you know, so. You just hope that there's some grace there for people where they get a glimpse of what might be possible in the world. And for me, I just keep singing, and you know, whoever joins me, that's good, you know. What else can I do? It's this or pump gas. You know, so that's all I can do. And you? What have you been doing? You've been writing more?
Writing, and teaching meditation, traveling around a bit, teaching here and there. Just got back from California.
I remember a story that only I know now, because Mr. Tiwari, who was the only other person there, and they were in Kenchi, and Krishnamurti came to see Maharaji, and apparently they knew each other. But before he came, Maharaji and Tiwari were sitting down by the river, and he told Tiwari, go sit behind that rock and don't let anybody see you. So he went there, and right after he got there, Krishnamurti arrives with a party of people. And he starts in on Maharaji. What is all this? These temples and these murtis and all this stuff, this devotion and all this stuff. What is this? What is all this? Nonsense. It's all nonsense. And Maharaji goes, yeah, you're right, you know. You're right, I know. But I have to eat. You know? And so people come here and they think they're feeding the gods, but I'm getting all the food, so it's good for me. And it actually shocked Krishnamurti, and he kind of went, and then Maharaji goes, and what about you? Giving lectures to the intellectuals? What kind of bullshit is that? You know, and he was shaken. He was really shaken. And then Maharaji kind of shocked him. And then Maharaji said, oh, he's such a great saint. Touch his feet, touch his feet, touch his feet. It had everybody. And then he left, you know. But, so, you know, everybody does what they can do. But those guys see through it all. And they're always here for us to connect to. And by their grace, we're able to kind of keep turning in the right direction.
I don't know about you, but I feel so blessed to be able to do what I do. I can't imagine anything else that I would survive doing.
Yeah, no, it's all blessings.
Yeah.
You can't say that to people. Nobody understands.
Right.
It's all blessings. It's all grace. You know, what people think is their problem. You know, but, you can't protest too much, because then it's, you know, the lady doth protest too much, you know. You just say, oh, thank you. But we know where it's coming from, what it is.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Nice to see you.
See you.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste. Take care.